Guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at the DatePicker view in SwiftUI. Now, what is a DatePicker? Well, a DatePicker is exactly what it sounds like. It is a view that allows you to select a date. However, it doesn't just allow you to select a date, it also can be configured to allow you to select a time instead. All right, so let's go ahead and inside of Xcode, what we're going to do is I want to get rid of the code that we had previously. So let's go ahead and first get rid of that stuff. All right. And now, inside of our form, we're going to create our date picker. But the first thing that we need before we can do anything is we need a state variable of type date to be able to manage the selected date. So, at the top of our content view, I'm going to say @state private var selection. Going to make it a type date equals date. So it'll be the current date is the default value for that. Now, inside of the form, we'll say DatePicker okay. All right. So now don't do .init here. I'm just using it to force Xcode to show me the various initializers because Xcode is not wanting to show me the initializers in the autocomplete for whatever reason. So the first option that we have here, is a title. So that's going to be its label. Then the second parameter is the selection binding. And the third parameter is what components do you want to be displayed in your date picker. All right. So the second one that we have here is the second initializer that we have here is we have a title, the selection binding, a specific range. So we can specify what dates we like, the minimum and maximum date that we want in our range there. And then we have what kinds of, like, what components do you want to display in the date picker. All right. Again, we also have, we have one that has a range. You can kind of get the idea here. You can take a look at the documentation for each of these, but the one that we want is the one with the title, the selection, and the displayed components. That is the simplest possible one that we can have. So we'll have a title in here, and it'll be select a date. Selection, which will be a binding to a date. So we want $ selection, like that. And then finally, we want displayed components. And this is an enum, so we can select date, we can select hour and minute, and that's really it. So do you want the date or the time? If we say date, let's save this, run it, and take a look at what the default date picker gives us. So you can see right there, we have our date showing up there, and it's just the date. But let's change it to, instead of .date, .hour and minute. We can save that and run it. And now, instead of the month, day, and year, we now get hour and minute. And in addition, we get PM or AM, which is extraordinarily helpful. Now there are date picker styles that we can specify. So we can say date picker style, and if we take a look at this, we get the first one that our autocomplete gives us is automatic. So this will have the system determine what style is best based on the context and other factors that the date picker is being used in. We have compact. We have field. We have graphical. We have stepper field. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. Let's take a look at stepper field and see what that looks like. So here's our stepper field, where you can adjust the different components. So I can go in and focus on the different components and kind of use the arrow keys up and down to adjust the selected time or the date, depending on what it is that you're displaying here. All right. Inside of date picker style, let's say compact, and see what that one looks like. All right. And so this is what the compact style looks like. Let's say field. This is the field date picker style. Now, with VoiceOver, it's interpreted exactly the same way. There's no difference really in the way VoiceOver announces it, but the visual appearance does change. So this kind of looks like it's in a text field. if we say graphical, this is the graphical style for a date picker. All right. And we've taken a look at stepper field already. And if we have automatic, this is what automatic will look like based on the context. All right. So that's what the date picker looks like on macOS. But what will it look like on iOS? Let's go ahead and take a look. So I'm going to go into Xcode. Here we go. So we have just the normal date picker here, nothing too complicated. I'm going to go into the toolbar and I'm going to change the run destination to the 16 Pro Max. Save. And now we have our successful build. Just gotta let the simulator boot. All right. And so here is our date picker. We can select a date or a time. Now, if this was a date, right? If this was a date, it would give you kind of this calendar view that you could select a date from, depending on the date picker style that you chose. All right, so this is kind of what the date picker style or date picker would look like in a form, right? Obviously, you're not always going to use a form, but this is kind of most of the time what you're going to use. You're going to use the form most of the time when you're inputting data, and this is what the date picker is, or what the date picker is supposed to look like. So with that being said, that pretty much does it for this video, guys, on date picker. It's a really simple view to use. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.